tonight received regarding the number of agricultural animals permitted on the A1 zoning for zoning code 3.03, para A, para 9, para A, B, C, and D. Proposed time frame for reduction in the total number of animals to meet compliance. Discussion and possible action. So at this point in time, Chad and Jody Erickson. Yeah. Welcome.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about your property there.
Just gonna read what I prepared. Yesterday it was our 4-year anniversary living on our farm. We made the huge leap to leave our home in the city of West Bend to move to our dream. We raised our children to be fearless and chase adventure and seek new journeys whenever possible, and it was our time to do the same. The moment we walked into that kitchen, we knew that that was our home. It was something we had been looking for since we bought our first house in '96. Each home before this was just a setup for what we were going to accomplish. The barn, the land, the open space, it called to us, and it was us. We were so excited to join a community that appeared to embrace small farms and a mentality of live your life. But today we're here. When we started out, our goal was to be just as self-sustaining as possible. We wanted to raise enough to feed our family, our parents, but somehow small dreams have a way of growing when word gets out. Very quickly we were approached by our neighbors who were excited about the prospect of being able to know where their food came from. We were always transparent in what we did. We never hid it. Our first purchase was 3 pigs, actually, in January of 2018. They had an outdoor space created for them. They tucked into our lives, and we actually named them Bacon, Egg, and Hash Brown. Never did we hide them. They were visible by anyone who did any work behind our barn. That field is leased out for cover crops. The farmers that manage that field could easily see those 3 pigs hanging out in the sun. Spring of 18, we got our first egg layer chickens, named every single one of them. That fall, we got our first 4 beef cattle. Again, we researched what we were getting because we wanted to make sure we were getting animals that would thrive on the land that we had. We bought 2 Belted Galloway from a farm in Kewaskum, and we bought 2 Scottish Highland from a farm in Valdez. We took heat for naming our stock. You're not supposed to do that, apparently. But it was our belief, and still is, that every single animal and person that comes onto our farm is here for a greater purpose. That means respecting their lives, and in our world, we run by the motto that our stock live a beautiful life every single day until they have one bad day. We researched that bad day too. We made sure that we found a meat processor that did it the way we wanted, that it was done quickly, with the least amount of stress possible on that animal. We know we're rule breakers. I knew that. But you know, sometimes doing the wrong thing is the most right thing you can do when you find that it is something your community needs. Farming, including the farming in the town of Jackson, is going through an evolution. One that's driven by the idea that our food sources need to be sustainable, safe, and well cared for. That's our purpose. That's our motto. That is our mission. This is why we're supported by so many people. Because they want to know where their food comes from, and they want to follow our mission too. Wisconsin leads the nation in farm bankruptcies and farm loss. In 2020 alone, our state lost 260 dairy farms. It is simply too great of a challenge for many to start even a small-scale farm in the current setting. The real estate market has outpriced most who'd be interested in doing what we're doing, and that leaves small to medium farms at risk of being bought up by large entities, resulting in the end of family farms. We can do a lot in a small area. We showed that. Our animals make weight every single time. We have 2,000 bales of hay in that barn right now. I know that we couldn't sustain them on 2.5 acres of land, but I know that I can sustain them by him cutting 25 acres of hay 3 times in a summer. I know that we can sustain them because we buy local hay from another farm in at least 1,000 bales. We get all our feed from a local feed mill that probably gets much of their grain from local farms as well. We're contributing to this town and this economy. Maybe it's not in the size that people think it should be, but we have a purpose. This is the opportunity to make a change, to evolve, to help farming survive. You guys have an opportunity to accept that it is okay to do things differently. Now, I get that there are people who don't support this. I get there are people who are going to complain. Those people are always going to do that. They're always going to be unhappy with someone at some point. Should we always be listening to that one person? That one person who wants to take away dreams? That one person who wants to take away food from people's tables? In 2020, when people couldn't get stuff at the grocery store, they came to our home. Now, I know people were worried about the manure. That manure was sitting on a concrete pad. It's all gone. Why? Because we utilize that for all of our fields as a chemical-free farm, mind you. That manure, he hauls by himself. Our boys, they help us every single day to make that farm work. Y'all can take it from us. That's fine, if that's what you guys think is right. But you're taking food out of people who, off their tables, people who appreciate that, who value what we bring to the table. It is okay to change. It is okay to do something different. It's okay to welcome that into your town. We were welcomed by so many people. The outpouring of support that we have gotten over this is overwhelming. It has renewed my hope that we can all be better. This is an opportunity for all of us to be better. Now, I get that this takes work. And I get it's not going to happen overnight. But we're willing to contribute to that change. The person who complained never asked us how we do things. The person who complained didn't care. They just wanted to complain. Our door has always been open. You can ask many of these people who come to our home. We never turn away someone who wants to see what we do. We welcome their kids. We welcome their grandkids. This is our dream. This is our life. And we do it right. There's not many of us left. It's okay to do this. I cannot tell you how many tears have been shed over this. This guy gets up at 2 a.m. to go to his day job. He comes home and he literally works until he collapses at night. I don't want anyone to refer to my farm, our farm, as a hobby. It's not a hobby. No one does a hobby for 60 plus hours a week in addition to their regular job. This is our passion. This is our life. And we share it with all these people because they all care. It's time to do something better. You guys have the power to do that. We're not harming anything. I could walk you right out into that field right now with those cows, and they would come up to every single one of you and think that you had treats in your pocket. little Theon, our little Jersey, he thinks he's a dog. We've raised him since he was 60 pounds because another farm couldn't take care of him. We just brought 3 Belties in because another farm couldn't have them. So we work with our other farmers. We want to do that. We did this. And I will break that rule every time because I am proud of what we've done. This is our passion. This is everything we've worked for.
Thank you. You'll have more time to speak. I'm sure there'll be more questions for you. So, Jim, would you like to start us off?
I did meet with Erickson's. As of last night, we went over the current number of animals on the farm. They have 2 miniature pigs, which are being moved to their son's new home off-site, out of the township.
Yep.
Correct?
Actually, the village of Menominee Falls is welcoming them. Yep. With no questions.
There's approximately 10 chickens, 1 sow pig that is, according to Chad, is scheduled to be slaughtered in January, and 10 cows. Did you guys want to talk about your appointments with the slaughterhouse?
We have dates for the beef cattle. June 3rd, 2 go in. June 17th, 2 go in. 7/15, 3 go in. 9/2, 3 go in. And we had already well, prior to all this, had worked out an arrangement with Kirschbaum Farms in Kewaskum to purchase 3 other steer. He's trying to reduce his herd. And we were going to take those in November. They are not on the property.
Define in. Define, you said take in. Define in.
Oh, we would feed them out and then they'd go to market. What was I going to say? Oh,
clarification, was it to market in November?
yeah, they would go to market in November. They wouldn't come to the farm until spring because they're not.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for anyone who does anything like this, you should understand that COVID has wreaked havoc with processing. We have dates booked out for animals that have never even been born. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Anyway, we have arrangements. That's what I was going to say. We don't take in an animal that we don't have a market date for. We're not a petting zoo. These animals come in, they get fed out, and they leave, and they wind up on these people's tables. I am not a petting zoo. Do I love our stock? Yes. Do I cry every single time he takes them to market? Yes. Because I care about them. But we do not take in animals that we do not have a market date for, which is a challenge. But we have planned meticulously to get that done. And we're lucky because we have good working relationships with the processors that we work with.
Anything else to add to that, Jim?
So the complaint was received, and I did go out and make an initial contact with Erickson's and explain to him what the current zoning section 3.03 A9 subparts A, B, C, and D are. And I gave him a chart which you guys all have in front of you. Under that zoning classification, they are at a 5.67 acres. So if you do round up to 6 acres, they would be permitted to have 3 cows only. I did explain to them if they wanted to keep the chickens, they would have to go down to under 4 acres which would provide them 2 cows, leaving 2 acres for 10 chickens. Under this zoning, that's what they would be allowed.
Can I say something about that? You do know, like, what the city of West Bend, on a 1/4 acre lot, you can have 4 chickens.
That's the city of West Bend regulations.
Right, but,
So,
I mean,
I'm gonna.
That's
open it
her
up for
point.
questions, but I'm sure my
That's her point.
fellow commission members have some. Who would like to start?
What do you consider the maximum capacity? Is 10 steers?
where we're at, yeah.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah.
max limitation.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do any more than that.
No.
Okay. And then setbacks, like your fences, I know there's some setbacks for neighbors, 25 feet and 50 feet, depending on what kind of animals you got. Are you setback or are you property tight or somewhere in between-ish? You don't have to give me by the foot, but I think it's 25 feet is a setback for larger animals.
Right now, we're property site on the west side.
Okay.
There is a letter in there from our neighbors on that west side.
Okay.
They're right back there.
You're here. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
Public comments are closed, but thank you.
Could you give me their name, because I looked through them, like the last names that I could,
Tom and Amy Roscoff.
okay, thank you. I'll just keep going.
Go ahead, Jen.
If your max capacity is 10, and the ordinance is 2, and your passion, and you're working 2 AM till 11 in the night, would there be any sort of compromise between 10 and 2, or is 10 the firm number?
That's just the most that I can do. That's what I can handle. That's what I can cut hay for. That's what I have. I rent 25 acres of hayland, so that's where I get my hay to fill in my barn.
Yep. But what I'm asking is, there's an ordinance here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting a conversation.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of folks behind you here. So, 10 is where you're at.
Mhm.
2 is what you're allowed, and we're just talking steers
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
Any,
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
It'll mean,
I know it's a negotiation at this
It'll
point.
mean
I'm not
our-
holding anything, but I'm
Yeah.
just kinda trying to work something here, potentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, what we wanna do is feed out what we have. We have people who wait a year to buy beef from us.
Understood.
And so we wanna feed out what we have. We have a barn full of hay to do so.
And what I'm looking at is.
Yeah.
After that,
There's the
right.
short term.
Yeah,
that-
and then the long term.
And then the long term.
Yeah, long term, yes, we would be willing to compromise on that.
Have you ever talked to your neighbors about leasing some land so you have more land to spread these animals out?
We have.
If there is some open land around, and they said no.
Tell them.
So we talked with the landowner behind us, and he is considering his options to sell. He wants to retire first. Currently, that land is being utilized for cover crops by another farm.
So I guess, did you ever ask him if he would lease it to you to put your animals on?
Well, if we lease it to put our animals on, we have to move all the animals over to that, and then that's fencing in that whole thing. You can't just, our understanding is you can't just bump the fence out onto that property and call it a day. And I don't know, we haven't asked what type of contract he has with the farm that already leases that.
Next question is, I see it's pretty close to where are you on Jackson Water or are you on a well?
We have Jackson Water, and we have a open well that is tested Jim, do you know, is it like every 3 months? Some guy
I'm
comes
not-
out,
yeah, I'm not
yeah, and tests us
It should be
at
quarterly.
least every 3 months.
So that's what you did last time. And
Yep.
Your personal company.
Right.
I have a question. Is it possible to buy like 4.34 acres from that neighbor that put you in?
We would love to.
10.1?
We would love to. He's not ready to sell yet.
So how long before he'd be ready to sell? Would there be any kind of date?
No idea, just until after he retires.
You
I
didn't
don't
say
know.
like next year or the year after?
Couple years, probably.
2 years, yeah.
And Tim, that would take us up to 5 cows? Was 10 acres?
No, if they go over 10 acres, then they would be permitted to do what they're currently doing now.
Follow-up question. You're taking care of all the manure, you've got about 2.5 acres on site for cropping. Is all the manure go on that 2.5 acres, or you take it over to 25?
No, we have the, about 5 acres that we spread the manure on.
And we use it in our, so we have open pasture on the east side of our farm and the west side.
Between pasture and,
Yeah. And we use it for our garden, so, gardens.
So the answer is it does all stay on site?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
So how much of this, do you intend to be like your income, or is your job your main income, and this is what you enjoy doing on the side? Is that?
The job is our income.
We have
This is-
full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you know your rule breakers.
Mm-hmm.
You just decided to keep going? I mean,
The-
every municipality has codes.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, West Bend, Menominee Falls,
Yep.
wherever.
Yeah,
And these codes are set aside to keep governance and to keep peace between neighbors. We've had multiple cases like this come up already
Mhm.
through the past 2 years. Whether it's chickens, whether it was sheep, donkeys, I mean, there's 3 or 4 that come to mind. And people just, we just thought we could do it. Our real estate agent, we bought the land, and real estate agent said we could do whatever we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like our code is targeting you specifically,
Nope.
but as this commission, as we sit here, we are entrusted to uphold the town code
Mm-hmm.
for the benefit of all citizens in town. That's why town is for town citizens only,
Mm-hmm.
and other members,
But also,
other rules that everyone has to abide by.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you just decided to keep going anyways.
the business took off way faster than we expected it to.
It was a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
The demand was pretty high. And, you're approached by other farmers who need help. It's pretty hard to say to another farmer who needs help, nope, I'm not going to help you.
I don't think any of my fellow commission members here doubt that you care for animals. That you're doing anything neglectfully or
We're not.
willfully against the animals. I mean, but you're brought here to be back into compliance.
Mhm.
And that is our job as a commission member to sit here. So that's why I think Chad and John were asking, where's the median and how can we get you back into compliance with our codes?
We'd like to be able to feed them out.
You don't know of any farmers in the area that would let you bring some of your animals to them until they're fed out?
So one of the challenges that we face is our customers are pretty passionate about how we do it. This is grass-fed beef. And they're not feedlot fed. It can be a challenge to find someone who is going to open their herd to animals that they didn't originate on their farm. It's possible that we spoke with some friends last night who could take 3. That would allow us to move 3 off the property. It'll require more work for us, but we'll do that. Our biggest concern is safety and well-being of those animals that we have a responsibility to. And then I can't tell you how to do your job. But I can tell you that you're going to be hard-pressed to find people who want to do this more than we do. And so will we work with you? Yeah, we will do the very best we can.
Like I said, this is the task before us. This evening.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just
Go
for
ahead, Randy.
everyone's clarification, this commission did not seek you out. Was a complaint filed?
Mhm.
Our zoning
I know.
administrator followed up, this is how it works.
Yeah.
No police.
I know you don't.
Go ahead, Jim.
So there won't be any more hogs on the property? Okay, and then I was making notes on the slaughter dates and all that stuff, cause we're at 10. Ideally, we get down to 2. So first slaughter date is,
June 3rd,
okay. And that was 2, correct?
2.
Yep. So if you got 3 out the door to your friends, which is gonna be more work, but if you get 3 out the door, the quickest we get down to 5 would be June. And then you had another 2 going out the door in July or late June.
June 17th.
Yep.
So
Then-
so a
then
total of 4 in June.
It's a total of 4 go in June.
Right. So then, there's still 1 over in June, but you had something going out in July?
3 dates in July.
Yeah.
Or a date for 3 in July.
Yep. So July would be the soonest that they'd be into compliance, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
If, if it was.
You stopped it more at that point.
Yep,
There's been more that come in.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep, that would be the assumption.
Or you attain more acreage.
Or things change.
Things change, or you find another barn to possibly rent.
Or things change.
Or things change. We evolve. We reevaluate.
Mm-hmm.
Any other question? Arlen, go ahead.
Yeah, just to start out with, it's very clear that you're very passionate about your farm and your operation there. You're committed to it, and we applaud you for that. There are reasons, I'm sure that everybody can see, for the zoning code to be written as it is. I can tell you that there are residents that may not be as passionate and committed to the care of their animals as you are. So the ordinance has to be written to account for that. And we recently, I think it was 2019 it might have been, updated that section of the ordinance to create that table for clarification purposes. And at that time, we surveyed other communities to find out what are your requirements as far as number of animals on a property, and what sizes of acreage are required for number of animals. And every community we surveyed had restrictions. So this isn't something that's standard or that's unique to the town of Jackson. And we looked at that when we changed the ordinance to clarify certain
What
parts
year?
of that code, basically creating that table
2019.
that you see in the ordinance today. So we did look at that, and we looked at other communities, and we came up with the code as it was written here. As was said earlier too, the zoning administrator's job is to enforce the code. Now, sometimes that's on a complaint base, sometimes we're just driving through and maybe might see something that doesn't conform to the ordinance. How it comes to the attention of the zoning administrator is not really the issue. The issue is maintaining compliance. And we're here tonight, and the way this is agendized is to discuss timeframes for getting into compliance. And I think that's where our focus needs to be tonight. And I think we're making progress towards that. And I think that if we were to set a date for compliance, that would be agreeable to both parties, I think that would be the way to proceed. And that would be, well, I would refer to as a maximum date, that if compliance is obtained before that, great. But we would give you basically a deadline, I guess is what you'd call it, to maintain or to come into compliance. And if July or next year works for you, I certainly would be in favor of setting that schedule.
And they, at that point, can have 3 steers, correct, if we're rounding up?
Assuming they don't have chickens.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's animal units,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not necessarily one or the other. It's-
Yeah.
So if the chickens,
Animal unit.
if they wanna have chickens, they
Got
can
it,
use
got
the
it.
2 acres for the chickens.
Understood, sorry.
Just getting back to a little bit of history again, you purchased the farm 4 years ago, you said?
4 years ago.
And this has been a slowly, so this is the most that it's ever been?
Yep.
And this has been going on, you hit this number how long ago?
A year?
So you've been at this
Yeah.
number for a year?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess I'm kinda getting a feel for the neighbors that lived with it for a year. I'm willing to work with people too, I mean, that's kind of how I roll.
Understand them.
I don't think anybody's here to shut down your operation, that's certainly not our intent.
That's not, no, it's not what we're doing.
Too bad I can't talk.
We would like to see it expand.
I would love for it to expand. We have something really great to offer. But with the way real estate is right now, I'm not gonna bankrupt myself.
It might change. Maybe next week, you never know.
It sounds like with all the support you have, that, there are gonna be big opportunities that could happen with all the word getting around and the kindness, shown to you with the letters that we've seen through the emails and everything like that as the word kinda gets out, this could actually all change in a different way and really benefit you as far as growing the farm. I guess that's just what I wanna say.
And the closest proximity neighbor, I'm assuming, is the one to the west, and they're on board. I don't know who did the complaint, but is there like a direct neighbor that, doesn't matter? So here's what I say, when Hans Dawson comes in and he talks to his neighbors, have you talked to your immediate neighbors? Are your immediate neighbors, cause there's more than one.
Yep.
I see you raising your hand back there. There's more than one immediate neighbor. What I'm trying to suss out is, are the immediate neighbors okay with where you're at if we have a decline over time?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments from anyone? Rich?
No, I like what they're trying to do, and I agree with, I wish there would be some way that we could accommodate them, but, like you said, we have our codes to follow, and these weren't just pulled out of the air, never thought out. I don't know if there's ways to make exceptions or not, but
We've had a history of this before, and we just need to enforce our code as is. So, any other comments or thoughts down there? Randy?
If the goal is to get in compliance by August 1st or July 30th, whatever, I'd be in favor of letting them feed out what they have. But after that point, we need to stay within the code. If you wanna change the code, there's methods to do that. There's a public function. It comes through this board. There's methods to change. It was recently updated 2019. Generally, we don't update codes every other day.
And it was increased.
we
You
had.
know, the numbers didn't
No,
change.
no, just,
No, it's just
the rooster, the
Ten,
chickens.
it was a
Yeah.
graded process,
Yeah.
because otherwise,
Ten?
10 acres or under, 10 acres or less in area were all lumped in as
Yeah.
a sum. So that's why
So we
we have
cleaned that up.
graded, per acreage.
To my memory, I don't think we had any member of the public here. And the public notice, so. Alright, well, I've got 2 on the table for letting you get out till, feed them out till July, assuming you guys are gonna move those 3 out.
We're gonna try.
Well, I'll make a motion, to, require that let's see here, Chad and Jody Erickson, are in compliance with the reduction in total animals, by September 1st, 2022.
We have a date, the 2nd, just in case we run into, like if someone doesn't put on weight fast enough.
Second?
We have a date on the 2nd of September, just in case someone is a slow grower. So, I'm just, cause sometimes, once in a while, yeah, once in a while you have your slow grower.
Then I'll say
So,
Yeah.
October 1st. Amend that to October 1st.
thank you.
Motion on the table, looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Chad.
Was it, thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
In the meantime, you can work to try to expand, your area of operation.
Feelers open. Other barns?
One can only hope.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.